Ask anyone what the most important pedal is in a car, and they will probably say the accelerator. If they're a little bit more traditional, they might say the clutch. But I think very, very few people would say the brake pedal is the most important. You guys seem to really enjoy my series on 3 things you don't understand. I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to improve your use of the brake pedal. This video is going to go on a journey from entry level and basic all the way up to as advanced as you can get with braking, pretty much. There are chapters down below and you can skip to each of the 3 points that I'm going to make in this video. The 3rd tip is very advanced. I don't recommend many of you to try it, especially not on the road. So take this as your warning. If you don't know what you're doing, trail braking can be dangerous. So the first tip is that sometimes you just don't need to brake. Sometimes it can be beneficial to plan a long way ahead and not touch the brakes. Here are some examples. See, this road goes down to a 50 and I've already lifted. You're gonna see all the people's brake lights come on in it. So look, 1 brake light, 2 brake light, 3 brake light. And if I've timed this perfectly, we're gonna go through there at 50 just in time. It shows that you're a better driver than some of these other people. You've planned ahead in the way they just haven't. And the benefit of that is, number 1, and the biggest one to be honest, is when you're off the gas, in gear and you're off the gas, you actually use 0 fuel. It's really cool. This is because of engine braking. If you have a look right here in the dash, I have an instant MPG gauge. But watch what happens to that number when I preemptively lift. That number goes to 99.9 mpg, otherwise known as infinite mpg. Because when I'm off the gas and the car is injecting no fuel, we have infinite miles per gallon. It's a huge boost to your fuel economy. It avoids wear on your brake pads, which is always good. And it makes your driving better and smoother too. So there's really no reason most people aren't doing it. Like right now, I've just come off the gas, but I'm not on the brakes because I see this dude making a right turn and now I'm back on the gas again. I didn't even need to use my brakes. The second tip, and this one is on that cusp of, it's a very basic idea, but it has a lot of depth and it can really go a long way to improving your braking. So whether you're at the beginner end or at the advanced end, make sure you make use of this tip. Squeeze, don't push. This is the idea that rather than using the brake pedal as a button or a switch, you squeeze into the pedal progressively. Here are 2 examples of applying the brakes. In this example, I'm pushing on the brake pedal. In this example, I am being progressive and I'm squeezing the brake pedal. These are just so you can get a better idea of the difference between the 2. If you just push the brake, you unsettle the balance of the car. I'm coming into this corner now. If I just push, the balance of the car has to recover from me doing that. What you want to do, as I'll demonstrate in this corner, is as you're coming up to the corner, you want to just let the brakes bite and then start to build up your pressure. And then you can accelerate again out the other side. That act of squeezing the brakes means that the suspension of the car has time to settle. As you apply the brakes progressively, the suspension loads up on those front wheels, which do the majority of the braking, and allows them to bite into that tarmac harder. It also just feels so much smoother and nicer and better. That first application of the brakes should be so gentle. You're just touching the pad to the disc. Once the pad and the disc make contact, you can start to push into the brakes as hard as you want. But where it really comes into its own is when you need a lot of brake pressure. So when you really need to hammer on the anchors, if you just press the brake pedal, you will get into ABS and you will not get the full value of those brakes. But if you progressively ease into the pedal, if you just get the pad to touch and then you start squeezing, you can actually get 100% brake pressure out of the brakes and make sure that they operate at their maximum. what I'll do is I'll go hotter into the next corner so I can show you a little bit better. So I've just touched the pads and now I'm squeezing, and then I'm off and in. See, I could have combined that with trail braking. I think when you see a video on YouTube about things you don't understand about braking, people kind of expect a section on trail braking, because trail braking is advanced and it's cool. Not a lot of people fully understand it. So I've got some examples here for you to try and improve your knowledge and understanding of that technique. There's a great way this was once described to me, which is that it's as simple as this. If you're still on the brakes when you turn the steering wheel, you're trailing the brakes. And the idea is you're still applying the brakes, you turn the wheel, and then you gradually come off the brakes as you apply the steering more. You've got to brake pretty late. I'm braking now, and I'm still braking, and I'm still braking, and now I'm off the brakes. The idea is you turn late. Braking now, still braking while I'm turning. This is definitely an advanced concept. It's also quite dangerous on the road. So this next corner is the best example I can find of trail braking. It's a long left-hander, and we're going in at 60. We want to go around at about 40. So I'm not even going to apply the brakes until now. And I'm still on the brakes now. I'm off the brakes. We've settled the car, and I can use the gas to get me out the other side. I'll do it again on this upcoming corner. Not this one, but the next one. So I'm not even applying the brakes until now. And I'm still on the brakes halfway through the corner. To be honest, to get the maximum amount of benefit, you really have to be going a lot faster than I'm doing on some of these streets. This point is really of maximum benefit if you're on a track, or if that is the only place where it's really, really useful. And it gives you an appreciation for the fact that you can actually brake and turn at the same time, even though that's something you're always told to never ever do. From as early as like playing Gran Turismo 4, we were always told you lift off the brake and then you turn. The two actions are separate, but you can combine them, and it is effective. It does work really well. Part of the reason why it works is when you're braking, the weight of the car shifts forward onto the wheels that turn. You have more grip technically when you're braking on the front axle. So when you're in the middle of that braking phase and you turn the steering wheel, the bite you get is really quite good, but you're closer to the limit because you're combining those two actions. So it's kind of tricky. It's a give and it's a take. One more example of trail braking here in a spirited fashion. Now this corner we'll get some proper trail braking. Braking super late, still turning as I brake. The trail braking is probably the hardest to really show on the road without going silly and absolutely decimating every speed limit, because you really have to be going pretty quickly and driving towards the limit to really get the benefits of trail braking.